Hi everyone, my name is John Kelly. I'm head coach at Live Free CrossFit, and today I wanted to talk about the dangers of too much anaerobic training. I often see in my own experience as a coach that when people join CrossFit, they become very enthusiastic and they want to train every single day. Most CrossFit workouts are of a higher intensity and they can be classified as anaerobic. Today we're going to go over the differences between anaerobic training and aerobic training and the benefits of one and the adverse effects of the other. When training, you have to have balance. CrossFit always talks about the 10 components of fitness. In any sport, you're going to have a season. You're going to have a off season and you're going to have a competitive season. Unfortunately, what I've noticed in CrossFit is that there is no off season. And what happens when you don't take periodic times to reduce intensity and reduce volume, it can lead to overtraining and injuries. I also noticed this in my own experience when I was coming off of being a professional mixed martial artist and I joined CrossFit. Like all CrossFitters, I became very enthusiastic because I could compete without being punched in the face. I liked fighting a lot, but having a full-time job as a firefighter, raising 3 children, and trying to be a professional mixed martial artist led to some serious imbalances in my life and in turn in my health. After going through a period of recovery from elbow surgery, I joined CrossFit. Once I joined CrossFit, I fell in love with how the training was structured. I fell in love with the intensity. I fell in love with the competitive aspects of the sport. This led me to training 2 times a day, wadding twice a day, strength training, Olympic lifting, gymnastics, trying to learn it all as fast as possible, thinking I could go to the games just because I came from a competitive background. And unfortunately, that's not the reality of the sport. You should be aspiring to reach your full potential when it comes to your health, wellness, and quality of life. CrossFit should be used as a tool. It shouldn't become the entire focus of your life. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, it does become that. Now, CrossFit itself inherently is not bad, but if you don't have the right coaches and you don't have the right training, it can become a negative aspect to your life. So today we're going to go over anaerobic and aerobic training. Now on the board here you'll see I've classified the two. Aerobic is with oxygen. So when you train aerobically, you're training with oxygen. That means you can carry on a conversation while you're training. A light jog, a moderate run, something where you and your buddy can do it and hold a conversation. Your heart rate is going to be between 60 and 75% of your max heart rate. Okay? Anaerobic training is without oxygen. That's when your heart rate is greater than 75% of your max heart rate. And we all know that most CrossFit WODs are definitely anaerobic because nobody wants to have a conversation in the middle of a WOD. And you're breathing hard and you can't catch your breath, and that's what we fall in love with. But unfortunately, if you do that every day, it can have adverse effects. Some of those effects can be feeling burnt out. If you wake up and you want to go to the gym, then you're probably not in this camp. But if you have days where you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should go today or not, I don't really feel like it, oh, this is bothering me, that's bothering me, and you find reasons not to go to the gym, that could be a sign of doing too much anaerobic workouts. That's the burnt out feeling. Nagging injuries. I know I have several. I know a lot of people in my gym have nagging injuries, from shoulders to knees to hips to ankles. Any one of those things could just be an injury, or it could be a sign, your body trying to tell you that you need to reduce your volume and you need to reduce your intensity, and you maybe need to look into more mobility, more flexibility, and proper technique. Decreased performance. I see athletes all the time. They come up to me, John, I'm not getting better. This guy PR, he hasn't been here for a week and I can't even do 10 pounds less than my PR. And I tell them, well, you're training too much. What do you mean I'm training too much? I'm only coming 5 days a week. That can be a problem. Coming 5 days a week, not getting your sleep, not getting proper nutrition, having a job, all those stresses can lead to overtraining. Feeling dizzy or lightheaded when getting up from sitting down. So you get up from sitting down in front of the computer, or you get out of the car and you feel a little dizzy or you feel a little lightheaded. This can be a sign of a stressed out endocrine system, meaning that your hormones are out of balance. There's all sorts of hormones that go into regulating your body and regulating the homeostasis that goes along with being healthy. If you don't have a regular hormonal system or you don't have regular hormonal balance, you will start to see signs and symptoms, and feeling dizzy when standing up is one of them. I personally, this was one of the signs that led me to get tested for hormones, because I would get up out of the chair and I would feel dizzy, and I was wondering what that was. And a lot of times that can lead to becoming diabetic. So you have to look out for little signs and symptoms like that, because it'll lead to greater things down the line. Craving salt or sugar. If you're craving salt, you're probably losing too much sodium in your workouts. You're probably working out too much, sweating too much, not eating enough salt. Now, I know that a lot of people think salt is bad and it can raise blood pressure, and that can be true, but there's also a lot of good qualities that salt has, especially Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt. Those salts have a lot of minerals that can really help regulate blood pressure. Sugar. When you're doing anaerobic workouts, you're using a lot of glycogen compared to fat. If you're using a lot of glycogen, which is sugar, you're going to crave sugar. If you're feeling dizzy and you're feeling lightheaded and you're having sugar irregularities, insulin sensitivity issues, sugar is going to be something that your body is going to inherently crave. The next one is blood sugar irregularity. You'll start to see, because you're eating so much sugar, that your insulin sensitivity starts to get out of whack. That can lead to your body having trouble metabolizing sugar. Too much sugar in the bloodstream can lead to becoming a diabetic. Trouble falling asleep or waking up at night. This is one I still deal with when I train too hard. You can have trouble falling asleep at night. You can be tossing and turning. You can usually try to go to bed around 10 or 11 o'clock, but you don't fall asleep till 12 or 1, and you're lying and you're tossing and turning in bed, and it's not good for your mental state, because you're wondering why you can't fall asleep. It's causing you more stress, which leads to more cortisol, and cortisol you want to have low at night. You don't want it to be high at night. And what happens is, when you're overtrained, your cortisol gets all out of whack, your circadian rhythm gets all out of whack, and you end up having too much at night, and that's what keeps you up. The blood sugar issues also lead to waking up at night, because as your blood sugar drops, your body needs to release more sugar into the blood, and it gets a surge of cortisol. That surge of cortisol will wake you up. I was routinely waking up at 3:30 in the morning every single night, and I had no idea why. And I would have to eat something before I could go back and get good sleep. And it leads to a lot of other problems when you're waking up in the middle of the night for your performance the next day, when it comes to the work, gym, being a parent, or just being a human being. Frequent nighttime urination. If you find yourself getting up and having to pee a lot, even during the day, frequent urination can be a sign of overtraining, because your sodium gets all out of balance and you're no longer retaining the water like you should, and you have to pee all the time. People that are pre-diabetic also have frequent urination, and that's one of the signs that leads to diabetes. So as you can see, when you are overtrained, it's not just a problem when it comes to performance, it's a problem when it comes to health. So you need to be aware of these signs. Eyelid spasms. I used to have eyelid spasms all the time, and I would wonder why, and it was probably because I was drinking 4 cups of caffeine a day. I would have pre-workout before I trained at 6 p.m. at night. I would have coffee in the morning, coffee throughout the day when I was a firefighter. It was part of the culture. But caffeine reliance, the last point we have here, is also one of the signs of overtraining. If you need caffeine to get through the day, if you need caffeine to get through your workout, then you need to reduce the volume of your training and you need to reduce the intensity of your training. And you might need to take a break altogether and try to find other ways to de-stress. Training is a form of stress. And if you are getting too many forms of stress into your life, they build up and they lead to these kind of problems. Now, in my own experience, I see people on the floor 5 days a week doing WODs. And I try to tell people, but nobody listens until they've experienced these things for themselves. What we're trying to do at Live Free CrossFit is become a more holistic, balanced gym. We have recently started our program, Live Free Zone Training, in an effort to give our athletes an option besides anaerobic conditioning. I know anaerobic conditioning is fun. I know anaerobic conditioning has many benefits, but too much anaerobic conditioning can have all these detrimental effects and in the long run be detrimental to your health. And training is all about being healthy. I know performance is what we're all chasing, but in the long run you want to be healthy. You don't want to sacrifice health for performance. And unfortunately, as competitors, we can do that sometimes. So in an effort to bring more balance to our athletes, we've started this program. This program is going to focus almost exclusively on aerobic training. What you see on the other side of the spectrum here is aerobic training. Okay? Aerobic training is with oxygen, like I said. It's a heart rate between 60 and 75%. You can carry on a conversation and you can do it for a long time. You can't do some CrossFit WODs for more than 5 minutes. You could, but your performance is going to fall off. A lot of CrossFit WODs, Fran, Diane, a lot of the benchmarks, those are anaerobic conditioning sessions. You can't do them aerobically. But you can row aerobically, you can run aerobically, you can bike aerobically, and you can swim aerobically. The effects of aerobic training go beyond performance and can bring balance not only to you as an athlete, but you as an individual when it comes to your health. So some of the things that aerobic training can improve and in turn make you a better athlete and make you a better performer is improved oxygen transport to muscles. If you are able to transport more oxygen to your muscles more efficiently, you're going to be able to go for a longer period of time. So when your competitors are starting to gas out, you're going to be able to take it to the next level. A reduction in lactate formation. Lactate is formed in your body when you're doing hard exercise above your aerobic threshold. That's when you start to feel the burn. You feel the burn in your legs, you feel the burn in your arms, and you have to take a break. By doing aerobic training, you will make your body better at reducing lactate formation and in turn improving lactate removal. Those two things right there will put you a step above the competition. If your competitor or the guy you're going up against or the girl you're going up against is burning out and you're able to keep that pace for a longer period of time, you're able to remove that lactate faster in your body and remove it faster from your system, you're going to be able to crush the competition. Increased energy production and fat utilization. When you train anaerobically, you're relying on sugar. When you train aerobically, you're relying on fat. You teach your body to efficiently use fat as an energy source. We're all holding hundreds of thousands of calories of fat, but you can only hold 2,000 calories of sugar in your body at a time. If you're in one of those long competitions or if you're in regionals and you're competing all day and you're burning through your glycogen, and if you can utilize fat as well as you can utilize glycogen, you'll become a more efficient athlete and you'll become more efficient at using the energy in your system. Using more fat than sugar when training, making you more energy efficient, which is what I just discussed. Increased stroke volume. Stroke volume is a fancy way of saying the amount of blood that your heart pumps out per beat. Now, stroke volume maxes out around 65% of your max heart rate. You can go faster than your max heart rate, pump more blood, but you're not putting out more volume. If you work at 60 to 65% of your max heart rate for a long period of time, 30, 45 minutes to 60 minutes, you're going to increase the efficiency of your heart in pumping out blood, and you're going to increase your stroke volume. Going at 180 beats per minute for 10 minutes is not going to increase stroke volume, but working out at 65% of your max heart rate for an hour is going to have a huge effect on the efficiency of your heart and increasing stroke volume. Increased capillary and mitochondrial density. Now, when I was talking about your body's ability to transport oxygen, I was talking about increased capillary density. When your body increases the capillaries, which are tiny blood vessels that shoot off the major blood vessels into the muscles, you're able to transport more oxygen more efficiently, and you're able to go harder, longer. So when it is time to do an anaerobic workout and it's time to compete and it's time to put the pedal to the metal, you're going to be able to do that for a longer period of time than an athlete who only trains anaerobically. And I can tell you this from personal experience. When I was an MMA fighter, all I trained was anaerobic training. I thought all I got to do is go hard and I'll get better. But by the middle of the second round, I will be gassed out because all I trained was anaerobic conditioning. I never trained aerobically. Even when I did CrossFit, I never trained aerobically. I thought harder was better, and that's not always the case. You need to have the ability to go hard, but more importantly, you need to have the capacity to go longer. Mitochondrial density. Think of the mitochondria in your cell as the battery. That's where you're going to utilize the fuel. If you're better at burning fat and you have more mitochondria, you're going to be able to work out at that strong pace that you're keeping for a longer period of time. If you're not doing any aerobic training, you're going to have less mitochondria and you're not going to be able to get the energy you need to go harder longer. Regular aerobic training can actually double these structures, the mitochondria and the capillary density. And I know that running and rowing for 20 to 30 minutes is not always fun, but if you want to be a balanced athlete, if you want to be a step above the competition, that's what you have to do. Not only will it make you a better performer, but it will make you a healthier individual, and you will avoid the adverse effects of too much anaerobic conditioning. So in conclusion for today's video, I want you guys to understand that all training needs to have balance. If you guys don't have balance in your training, you're going to become overtrained, you're going to become burnt out, and you're going to get injured. But if you can include 2 to 3 days a week of lower intensity aerobic conditioning along with your strength training, your gymnastics work, your Olympic lifting, and your anaerobic conditioning, you're going to see that you're going to be healthier, you're going to be happier, and you're going to be a hell of a better athlete. So thanks for listening today. And if you guys want to try out the aerobic conditioning that we have at Live Free CrossFit, we have a new program, our Live Free Zone Training Program, which we've built specifically for you guys to become better athletes and healthier human beings. Thank you and have a great day. So head over to the link below and claim your 1 free week of unlimited Live Free Zone Training classes.